President Obama came out and gave a very tough speech about ISIS, partly, of course, to address critics who had said that he was not tough enough in his Oval Office address. Apparently, he needed to yell more at ISIS, so he clarified here.
This fall, even before the revolting attacks in Paris and San Bernardino, I ordered new actions to intensify our war against ISIL. ISIL is dug in, including in urban areas, and they hide behind civilians, using defenseless men, women, and children as human shields. So even as we're relentless, we have to be smart, targeting ISIL surgically with precision. We are hitting ISIL harder than ever. Coalition aircraft, our fighters, bombers, and drones have been increasing the pace of airstrikes, nearly 9,000 as of today. Last month in November, we dropped more bombs on ISIL targets than any other month since this campaign started.
So he's got to come out there and say, we're hitting them harder than ever. And he obviously is giving a speech at the Pentagon here. And we have dropped 9,000 bombs on him. That is a lot of bombs, to be fair to President Obama. Now, some parts of his speech, I was a little bit more skeptical about. He said he claimed the group has lost 40% of its territory in Iraq. I haven't seen good reporting on that. Let's just leave it at that. Obama also said that U.S. and its allies have taken out more than half a dozen key ISIS leaders. I'm sure they weren't replaced at all. And then he went on to say, ISIL leaders cannot hide, and our message to them is simple. You are next. It's easy to talk tough. At the same time, you know, a lot of these guys get replaced immediately, and the more bombings we do, the more enemies we create. On the other hand, I would also take President Obama's warnings fairly seriously. He also warned Osama bin Laden that he was next, and it turned out he was next. So why is President Obama doing this speech? Well, this poll will give you a good reason why. A CNN ORC poll released late last month showed 60% of Americans disapproved of Obama's handling of terrorism compared to 38% who approved. Well, when you got numbers like that, you're going to come out and give more tough speeches about how you're fighting the terrorists. And he's going to also help his party look tougher as they head into a presidential election. Now, I don't believe that being quote-unquote tough is the right way to go here. I believe being smart is the right way to go. Now, President Obama, to be fair to him, continues to emphasize that as well. Whether we're actually acting that out is a different question. Now, one part I will give him credit for, again, is he announced, according to The Hill, that he's sending Defense Secretary Ashton Carter to the Middle East today to, quote, secure more military contributions from its Arab allies. I agree with that. He talked about using special forces more in the area. I agree with that. And at the same time, we are dropping 9,000 bombs. Is that really working? Well, I'm very skeptical of that. Now, I get that President Obama is in a tough spot here. On the one hand, if he doesn't scream, oh my God, I'm going to kill him, I'm going to bomb him, people get restless here. Of course, his Republican critics attack him, but furthermore, as you see from the poll numbers, the American people get dubious as to whether he's doing enough. On the other hand, the more he bombs them, the more they wind up getting sympathy from the locals. Why? Well, one of the many, many reasons was explained in an interview I actually had earlier today, and that was with Brandon Bryant. He's a whistleblower who worked in the drone program. He was one of the drone pilots, and he would actually do the firing upon people from time to time. Now, this was across the world in different places like Pakistan, etc. But when we talked to Brandon, he explained, you know, all these bombings sound great sometimes to the American people. They sound tough, but oftentimes the people you're bombing are not the ones you think you're bombing. Let me show you a clip.
I went to my commander and I told him that I couldn't do it, but he told me that I should stop being a fucking pussy and should do my job.
Okay. And so you started doing your job. By the end, how many people do you think you'd killed?
I killed 13 directly with Hellfire missile strikes, and I was party to over 1,600 people being killed in actions directly related to what we participated in.
So Brandon's saying, hey, you know what, I'm not sure we're killing the right people here, and I've got qualms with this. And they say, as you just saw there, stop being a pussy, get back to killing people. Does that sound like a smart strategy to you guys? That interview will be up later at youtube.com/TYT interviews, but I want to show you two more clips that are a little heartbreaking here. Watch. How many of them were terrorists? Because we're assured by the U.S. government that almost all of them were.
I don't know, actually. That's kind of one of the biggest parts of the guilt.
They keep telling us, oh, no, don't worry, man, we're going to get terrorists. Now, he says later in the interview that 85 to 90% of the drone operators would resign as soon as their contract was up. He said because a lot of them, or overwhelming number of them, felt guilty because they didn't really know who they were killing. And then I asked them, was it sometimes kids? Do you think there might have been any kids in that number?
Yeah, I'm more than positive. Anyone who is military aged is eligible to be a combatant over there. So we're looking at ages 12 and up, and doesn't matter if they're children or not at that point. If they're not with the women, then they are considered military aged male and legal combatant, so they're considered enemy targets.
Later in the interview, he said that killing children was oftentimes referred to as mowing the lawn before it got too high. So the next time you see any politician with a tough guy speech about how many bombs we're dropping on ISIS, remember that oftentimes those bombs don't fall on ISIS. They fall on civilians. So there are no easy answers here. And I know the president's under a lot of pressure to be quote unquote tougher on ISIS. But understand that that strategy is not always the most effective one. And it is up to the president to show leadership and say, here's what I'm going to do. No matter what the political consequences are, we are going to be smart about how we attack ISIS, and we're going to use the appropriate force to go get them. That is why I'm in favor of more special forces and less dumb bombing.